Hey everybody. I want to start with the Meteors. Both of these headphones were given to me. Both of these are free samples. I don't even think I have to return them, which is very nice of the vendors for doing that. Honestly, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. However, regardless of whether these are free samples or not, I will always be honest one way or the other. Now, that all being said, what do I think of the Meteors? Let's start with that. Well, the out-of-box experience, when you first get it and you look at the box, you make impressions. Like, how cheap is this thing going to feel to me? It's only $100. And boxing can actually go a long way to make you feel like you're maybe in for something with more care put into it. And when you open this box, you see these tips nicely lined up by size in this kind of felt compartment situation. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty nicely lined up. I liked the ease of use of getting the IMs out. And then you look for the case, and it has a case. Even though it's a cheap, relatively budget thing, it comes with not everything in the budget range comes with a case. And it feels like it's an okay leather. I like the color of the leather. I like how it snaps shut. These are the things that I like. These are the things I like. But then I actually listened to them, and I have to be very honest. For my personal tastes, I can't enjoy these. I think there are people I don't like to read reviews of other people because I don't want to be biased by what I'm hearing from others too much, as I try to avoid it. But I think, if I'm remembering correctly, there might have been some people who liked this. If there are, I'm really confused. Personally, because I just you could say maybe it's the tips I used, but I tried other tips. I tried my SpinFit tips as well, and I got the similar effect. These come off as extremely bass heavy, kind of like if you put in the Obsidian, which I recently raved about from the Eco OH10 Obsidians. Those are big bass, but they are so clean and they are so open sounding with the rest of the tuning response. Nothing seems recessed or hidden or tunneled or artificial. It just seems like very nice live performance with big bass. These have big bass, but they don't pull off that open, natural sound. In my ears anyway. On the tracks that I tried, and I went through my whole reference playlist, it sounded almost like the voices were pushed in the back. I kept wanting to raise my volume to hear the voices more, but when the bass kicked in, it was like way too much. And it sounded almost, I don't know if I would say artificial. I don't know if that's too harsh, but it didn't sound quite, for lack of a better word, open and airy and natural. It did sound a little bit like the timbre was off. It sounded like I was listening through a tunnel for the vocals. It did seem a little recessed in some areas. And the bass was so big, too, that it made it harder to listen to those things in the distance anyway, too. So overall, I'm not a fan of it. I'm sorry. I feel sorry because they gave this to me for free. And they gave me another box. And I sent them an email. I'm like, can I send these back to you? You already gave me one. Was there an error in shipping? And they said, no, you keep it. You give it to one of your fans. We want to have like a nice, collaboration here. We go ahead, keep it, give it to somebody. And you know what? Thank you so much for doing that. And I am going to give this one to my patrons out of a raffle. We'll see how they like it when they get it themselves. And I think I'll also be giving away this one. So I'm actually going to be giving away two to my patrons. We'll have a first and second prize winner there. But let's move on to the Tripowin H1 for now. This one kind of caught me off guard as well for different reasons. The Tripowin H1, it came in this box, pretty simple. I think it was inside this bag, and I was like, is that it? It was just this bag. I was like, okay, that's kind of weird. I don't know. I'm so used to things coming, like in like at least a box with like something to cushion it or something like that. I have boxes and boxes. And this one just came in a bag in a cardboard box. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe because it's a budget headphone, they're saving on shipping. Fair enough. Let's see how it sounds. And then but before I put it on my head to hear it sounds, it felt like kind of wibbly wobbly and plasticky, and even though I think it's metal, kind of cheap feeling, if for lack of a better word. And the headband, I was like, is this supposed to be here? It's like bent in like an extreme like V shape or something. Like, was this from somebody else and they're passing it down the reviewers? Did somebody try to like squish it or something? And it feels almost like it's bent out of shape on the top. Like it's stiff along the sides and then it's suddenly bendy. Anyway, there are strengths about the build that I like. It has these metal plates that I like. I like the feel of metal in general. I like the cold touch of it. I like the weight that it gives headphones. I like the metal. But it's put together kind of shoddily. And the pads themselves are cozy enough. But the clamping force, when I put this on my head, the first thing I noticed was that it kind of clamped weird. It didn't feel like a snug fit. And it was like, okay, let's put on some music. And then immediately it sounded extremely thinned out and unnatural as heck. The timbre was completely off. It did not sound authentic at all. And I was like, is this right? And the bass was completely missing, completely. And then I thought of a trick that I've learned with IEMs. I've learned with IEMs, inner ear monitors, that unless you have a good seal in the ear canal, you will lose the bass. Seal equals bass. So I thought maybe if I just maybe the cups weren't making a good seal against my head. So I took my fingers while it was on my head and I pushed the headphone closer in on my temples. And then suddenly the bass came in. I was like, okay, come on, you guys, you can't build a headphone that has the bass and it won't give it to you unless the user pushes the earphone against their head the whole time. But my baby's here. Just came home from daycare. I have to leave in a second. So I'm sitting here pushing these against my head, and even with the bass turned on from me putting the pressure on, creating that seal, it was still sounding completely wonky and artificial. So I don't know what I'm going to do with these. I suppose I could try to do another giveaway, but then I just feel bad because am I just giving my patrons all the stuff I don't like? Maybe. Maybe that's what it's going to be for a while. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this light commentary. I'll see you guys for the next one.